Mike Rosenboom here again, and I just want to wrap up our discussion on short sales by talking to you about some of the myths that I've run into, either from people who are trying to buy or people who are trying to sell short sales. We already talked about, again, what a short sale is. It's just when a seller is trying to sell a home for less than they owe their mortgage, and it creates a short situation. They're coming up short. Okay, so what are some of the myths associated with short sales? Well, from sellers, one of the things that I've run into resistance is they just think that there's no hope because the bank wants their house. Okay, and that is a myth. Let me just tell you right now, the bank doesn't want your house. They want your payments. And if they can't get your payments, as a last resort, they will take your home. Okay, but in the meantime, if you can stay in the home and help them by taking care of the property, keeping the lights and utilities on, keeping the home maintained, keeping the lawn mowed, and helping them sell the home, they would much rather that situation than them to have to take the home from you and then have to go through the hassle of selling it themselves. So it really does work out for both of you again. The bank does not want your house. So if you can do a short sale, it can benefit both of you. Um, Another myth is that short sales are just as bad as foreclosures. And we'll talk about this from a couple of standpoints. Again, as a seller, short sales are a much better situation for you than going through a foreclosure. Not only is it an easier process in terms of you get to stay in your home a little bit longer, but again, when you foreclose, the amount that you still owe them that they didn't get from you, you owe $200,000, and let's just say after you foreclose, they only got 150. They, in most states, including Tennessee, they can come after you for that amount that you owe them. So it can follow you for a long, long time. A short sale will mess up your credit because you are not making your payments, and that shows up on your credit report. But it takes a lot less time to recover from a short sale than it does from a foreclosure. And so you need to understand that. It's better for you as financially in the short run and in the long run. So that's a myth. As a buyer, though, if you are looking to buy a short sale, short sales are just as bad as foreclosures. Well, kind of unfortunately, that's not true. Foreclosures, if you are a buyer looking to get a good deal and you go to purchase a foreclosure, it's a really simple process most of the time. It's a smooth transaction. The home has been foreclosed. You're dealing with an REO department, real estate owned, and they've been doing this for many, 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 many years. So it's a very simple process. You can usually close on a short sale in about 3 weeks up to 45 days. But for a buyer, buying a foreclosure is going to mostly feel pretty normal. On the flip side, buying a short sale, not so normal. It usually takes a much longer period of time because you're dealing with all the different decision makers. It's a complicated process. You usually go a very long period of time without knowing whether or not you're even going to get the home as a buyer. And that can be very frustrating. Whereas in a foreclosure, you usually find out within a couple of days whether or not they're going to accept your offer. And then once they accept your offer, it's done. You just have to move on towards closing. Short sales can take months. And I've had it happen where after months of going through the process, the bank still decides to foreclose and the buyer is just left looking for another house. So short sales are just as bad as foreclosures, wrong on both fronts. Lastly, short sales are always a good buy. Well, not always. I wish this were true. I wish this were true because I would love for short sales to be a great buy, because if they were a great buy all the time, more people would be buying them. We would be getting them off of the market. I would love to see short sales and foreclosures go away. It would make everybody's life a whole lot easier, including the banks, including realtors, including buyers and sellers. But what you have to understand is that sometimes short sales, the bank wants to get as much money as possible. And if they don't get the money that they want, they'll foreclose. So I have seen often times that the foreclosure is actually a better buy than the short sale because the bank is still holding out for more money. It's not always the case, but it is the case sometimes. So short sales are not always a better buy. But here's what I want to stress to you. If you are a buyer and you have a great amount of flexibility and you have time, short sales would be something that I would consider for you, because buyers are finding out short sales are difficult, so they're staying away from them. And the way I see things, that creates an opportunity for you if you are somebody who is willing to deal with the headache and you have a realtor who knows how to deal with those headaches. But I'm going to be very straight with you. If you are a buyer who, if you are on a limited amount of time and you're not very patient, you want to find your house and get the process done, a short sale probably isn't for you. Short sales are not always a better buy. Okay. So hopefully this clears things up a little bit. I can not stress enough, if you are a seller, pursue a short sale. It is a much better situation than getting foreclosed on. If you are a buyer, talk to your realtor about all the ins and outs of purchasing a short sale. And if you are a buyer who is flexible, find a realtor who is willing to get out there and find you a short sale. That's all I have for now. There is so much more that goes into it. But if you have any other questions, contact me and we'll talk about it. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope this sheds a little bit of light on short sales.